Peace.
Peace.
This is Joshua Melba Moore, Mr. PhD. You're just now entering the cipher called Real2reel360. K-Wise.
Peace, God.
Bring that beat in, kid.
Indeed.
Peace.
Yeah. What's going on, party people? Welcome to the Real2reel360 show. Let's get it in. We do the knowledge of wisdom so you can understand. Real2reel360 shows in full command. We changing the game for how it all was taught. From bondage to freedom to an independent thought. Yo, the show is here to bring about a change for real. To lighten everyone so we all know the deal. 360 degrees is a fact. We created the show to give our love back to our communities so we can know what's going on and give them the support from knowledge to porn. So if you're ready to learn, then it's time to go. Sit back and relax and enjoy your show. Peace.
Peace and blessings to Allah's mighty 5% nation of gods and those to all the human families of the planet Earth. We bid you a love, peace, and happiness high salute. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the four corners of this universe. Welcome to the Real2reel360 show. I am DJ K-Wise Allah, aka Kato, the Black Superhero. Listen, I am so elated. I can't tell you what this means to me right now, what this means to us at Real2reel360, my brother and myself. We have a living, true icon in her right. She has been with us. She has been there, stood the test of time, and is still shining like a great beacon of light. So without further ado, let me bring on my co-host with the most, because it's time to get it on. It's time to get it in. Y'all know the deal. Y'all know who it is. My brother in God, Mr. Joshua Melba Allah, a.k.a. Mr. PhD.
Am I the meanest?
Sure enough.
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this time?
Sure enough.
But who am I?
Joshua Melba Moore.
Who am I?
Joshua Melba Moore.
I can't hear you.
Joshua Melba Moore, Mr. PhD.
Peace, Almighty.
Peace.
What it do, what it do, what a day.
Peace and blessings to all that's our followers, listeners, and subscribers. Those individuals who take time out their day to acknowledge that Real2reel is where they need to be. But today, like you said, we have a icon, a legend. This woman is basically the epitome of queendom when it comes down to Broadway, music, film. She done it all. And it's an honor and a privilege to have her with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Miss Melba Moore.
Thank you for that warm welcome. We're happy to be with both of you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Miss Moore. How you doing today?
I'm excellent. I was just saying, so good to be here with you, and thank you for having me.
It's a privilege. It's a privilege.
Yes.
I wanted, like we was talking behind the scenes, to talk about how did it feel to receive the Tony at a period in time when a lot of us as African Americans wasn't being really recognized for the works that we were doing on Broadway and stage like that.
Well, it was extraordinary. My background was not theater, so it was quite a shock to me to kind of be plunked into the situations as I was and learn from being on the job, as it were, learning how to be an actress, learning to be on the Great White Way when I was black. Shocking, but fantastic. And of course, it still has a kind of rippling effect, not just on me, but on the legitimate stage environment. Many, many more African Americans have had opportunities in the Broadway theater in a lot of different ways now since my opportunities came. And I guess I can be considered to have been some shoulders that was stood upon for the people who came after me. Yes. But there were people who were before me, not too many though, as you said, were very, 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 very few. And I don't know what kind of politics were arranged just for me to kind of get in there, because I remember on the Broadway musical Pearlie, we were moved in a couple of different theaters because basically I think the establishment was trying to shut us down. So there was some challenges. It wasn't not just an easy way in terms of the producers. For me, it was fantastic because I had a beautiful producer in Philip Rose, but Philip opened the way for us, and he worked very hard and suffered a lot of challenges. He brought Sidney Poitier to the Broadway theater. He brought R.C. Davis and Ruby Dee to the Broadway theater, and several other African American actors. Um, Prior to that, there was no place in the theater, the Broadway theater, for us. Well, they thought there wasn't.
Mhm.
So
Right.
it was extraordinary. And my background was not theater. So I kind of learned it in such a shocking way. I had never heard of the Tony Awards.
Mhm.
Now, I'm always telling somebody I got a Tony Award because I understand what an incredible achievement that is. First of all, just in excellence in theater, but with all of the racism and the efforts to keep you out, that you got it anyway. It's extraordinary.
That's
Listen, before we go, we want to let and give you the opportunity to let everyone know who you are, who may not know who the real Miss Melba Moore is, because we have the younger generation that really they'll say, I don't know. And when we mention Melba Moore, you get a lot of generation. Oh, it's Melba Moore. Let us tell them who is the dynamic, spectacular, beautiful, magnanimous, outstanding vocalist, Melba Moore.
Well, I'm also an actress. In my very first Broadway play, and for the people who don't know me, you can go and Google me,
Mhm.
and you will see that my first Broadway play was Hair,
Mhm.
which was generally about hippies. It wasn't about Black people.
Right.
So they were the first to kind of break down the barriers in so many different ways. It's where I first wore an afro in a white play, okay? To give you an idea of the environment of openness and um, truthfulness and uh, just fairness and creativity that was in that environment. Hair was 1969,
Mhm.
so it was in blazing 60s. Okay,
Right.
it was the time of Jimi Hendrix and oh gosh, in terms of jazz, Miles Davis, so many different people. Also, prior to me was Diane Carroll. Um, I was saying before, Ozzie Davis and Ruby Dee, Sidney Poitier
Mhm.
before me, and then so many people came. Leslie Uggams and many people came after me. The barriers in so
Mhm.
many different.
Now, with all the barriers that you had to face, was acting really your first love, or was it singing?
No, I didn't know anything about acting. I was trying to sing,
Hmm.
and I got some work as a studio backup singer because I incidentally ran into Valerie Simpson, who was like the queen of jingles and commercials and studio work.
Right.
And we exchanged numbers. And I had been a public school teacher. And I asked my father, who was a musician, to help me get into the industry. We started to make the rounds, but I ran into Valerie and she got me involved with studio work.
Hmm.
But it was on a recording session that I met the producers of the Broadway musical Hair, and they were still casting, and said anybody. They were looking for strong singers, and they thought that we had interesting personalities, and they said that well, they would teach us what we needed to do on the stage. In other words, they would train us to be actors for this particular play, Hair. So if it hadn't been that kind of an opportunity, I might not have ever been in theater. So you're saying, what do I like better? I like them all, honey, because I didn't know these things were going to happen.
Right. Now,
Well, I hoped that music would happen because it was in my family. And so,
now,
in pursuit of music, the opportunity for theater came along. While I was in Hair, one of the girls told me about auditions for Pearlie. That's
mhm,
the Broadway musical that I got the Tony Award for. And that put me into the Flip Wilson show, the Carol Burnett show, the Ed Sullivan show, I can't name all of the television shows that I did because I then was a star on Broadway. So one door opened the other to the others. So you asked me which one I like best. I think I'm going to stick with music as a foundation because it seems to open all the other doors.
Right. Right. Now,
But
how
now I
does
don't have to pick.
how does it feel to be the person that a lot of artists and entertainers have stood on their show on your shoulders, and you have paved the way for them in
Well,
this
I
journey?
haven't really. I was in the right place at the right time. I think I was well trained.
Mhm.
I have some talent and I had some great opportunities and I was willing to work very hard. So I got these opportunities. They turned out to be something. Like I'm saying, before Pearly, I never heard of the Tony Awards. You can't give me the
Mhm.
credit for that. You can
Right.
give me the credit for being very courageous and saying yes to something that I didn't have a clue what was getting ready to happen. I said, yeah, okay, I'll try. And so I would encourage everybody too. You don't know what new opportunities are going to come along now that we've never heard of before. They're new. I mean, internet
Mhm.
is new. So many
Right.
different things are happening now that never existed before. So I'll just say to you, say yes.
Now, you got nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, that was major. How did that feel to even be nominated and to be realized, recognized as the third African American to ever been nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of
Oh, excellent. But I'm more excited about the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I
Fame?
have a Hollywood star coming up.
I was getting to that.
Oh, what I'm not gonna, fortunately, I have enough awards. I'm not gonna remember how I felt about each and every one of them. That's gonna be too
Right.
hard for me to answer.
Yes, ma'am. And you got the NAACP award within the
Yeah,
last 2 years,
yes.
to be recognized by them. It's like you have a portfolio of awards. Like you said, that you have a portfolio of awards. You have been recognized in various different areas of music and arts and entertainment. And how does, like, when your family, the support and the love that they give you to keep pushing you, how does
Mm.
that feel?
Well, that's extraordinary because you can't do these things by yourself.
Hmm.
And the most important unit of support you have, of course, is your family, because they basically have to help you prepare. Like, I'm not no doggone tech. It wasn't for my daughter, I probably wouldn't be on this Zoom. And even for people who understand how it works, it can be a little bit complicated. Sometimes things don't work like they're supposed to. So you're
Right.
going to need help. So your the first line of defense is my family. And I got to say, thank God, I have a really great, great family. I also have a great partner in management, Ron Richardson,
Mhm.
um, who really basically does my social networking. He's in charge of it. He doesn't do the whole thing, but he's in charge of it, and he keeps me plugged in, and he teaches me how it works. But he actually does my bookings. I have an incredible publicist, Angela Ellaby, Double Exposure. They might have contacted you regarding
Yeah. Yeah,
helping
Kevin
me.
did. Yeah,
Kevin, yes.
Kevin.
See, so those are people who are now they're professionals at doing this kind of thing, setting up
Hmm.
interviews so that I can talk about what I'm doing with people like you who will take it to the public, and
Hmm.
they become extended family members. You got to get along with them, you
Yes, ma'am.
know. You have to be in agreement on what your goals are,
Uh-huh.
and then you have to work out how you're going to carry them out together. So it's very important.
Now, we spoke about touch bases a little bit on the star on the Walk of Fame. How did it feel to get that call?
Well, that's a long process. I'm finding out. You can get nominated or submitted, but
Hmm.
then you have to be vetted like you were getting ready to be an FBI. They really they really look into your background.
Hmm.
But it really comes from the fans.
Right.
And if a certain amount of people say that they want you in there, then you are considered because it still has to be paid for. And
Hmm.
it's very expensive. But somebody came forward. I'm not going to say who it is now. I'm going to wait until I make my speech at the event to say thank you to that person because there's a lot of money. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of things that you have to go pass through to meet the approval of all of the different people that I'll say vet you to
Hmm.
get the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It's not like, well, okay, you get this. Okay, now how you feel? Mm-mm. There's a whole series of process, and it takes quite a long time.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Can we talk a little bit about your early background? Number one, we got to stand up. I got to stand up and salute you because that you was born in New York.
Are you a New Yorker?
Yes.
Well, that's very
Yes.
important.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Because it's just like Detroit and where else? Some of the other places. It must be something in the water about New York. New York is very, very, very special. I still
How
feel
was
have
it?
a special place. I guess many people have a special feeling, of course, about the place that they were born and started their lives. But I know New York is special. Did you look at the skyline recently?
Oh, it's
How do
orange.
they even get buildings that high?
Right.
And so many of them. You know, someone said that the ground is actually starting to sink because there's
That's
so
what they
many
say.
There's so many.
really, really tall, big skyscrapers, and they have to consider the pollution that the running of the buildings pour out. They have to clean the air from the buildings and all of the emissions that they have. So a huge city like that is no easy thing to run. But it's not just big. New York is really, it's diverse, it's
Right.
creative, it's fun.
Always
It can be dangerous.
the capital. New York is the capital city of the world.
Yes, that's why you're the journalist and I'm not. That's a perfect way to say it. Perfect way to say it.
Right.
There are
So
lots of great cities, but I don't think any of them are as great as New York.
Now,
So how long was it before you left New York? Because I think that city. I read what you.
I'm still there. I mean, I live in Jersey, but I commute. I do
in the
everything in
tri-state
Manhattan.
area, yeah.
Okay.
Still in the tri-state area.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, going back to your television exposure and stuff like that, and your relationships with individuals like Miss Dinah Carroll, being on the Flip Wilson show, how was that being around those great artists, entertainers, and stuff like that? Because Dinah Carroll was definitely ahead of her time.
Yeah, and kind of a first lady. She's so regal. I was around Nancy Wilson an awful lot. Another wonderful lady. Another dear friend is Miss Cicely Tyson. How about her?
Ooh, wow,
Right,
yeah,
gotta say ooh.
got to.
Miss Mary Wilson,
Mm-hmm.
Miss Aretha Franklin. I know I'm just name dropping, huh?
Go ahead, let it go.
But
Let it go.
I
Just let
can't
it.
name them all, but I can say to you, it's inspiring, as you might imagine,
Yes,
to
ma'am.
be in their company and to see how they do their art, how not just performing, but how they carry their lives. I guess who called me the other day? You
Oh,
won't guess, I'll tell you. Patti LaBelle.
Oh my
wow.
God, yeah.
I was walking down the street with my cell phone. She said, "Hi, Melba." I knew her voice. I said, "Who is this?" What is it about? I guess maybe famous people
Mhm.
that to speak with them is exciting, or to be in their company.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
think
It's just exciting.
Didn't you
it's
meet
exciting.
Harry Belafonte?
I'm sorry.
Harry Belafonte. Did you do anything with him or had met him?
No, but I did with his daughter, Sherry.
Sure. Okay.
She's one of the actress. Yes.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think that to be around individuals who are entertainers like yourself, icons like yourself, it's inspiring.
It is.
I think that's what it is for most of us. That it's inspiring coming from where we say we come from, and to
Yes.
see somebody to actually make it, and not only make it, but forge it to where it's so inspiring to say I can do it too. And then
Well,
you,
I remember being very excited to be in Timbuktu opposite Miss Eartha Kitt. That was
Mhm.
exciting.
Right,
And
right,
she was a very unusual personality. So, but some of our stars are. They're very different. They're
uh-huh,
not ordinary people. So,
right.
of course, I would have been excited to be in her company, but to be on the same stage with her.
Mhm.
I remember being at the White House and someone kind of said, Miss Moore. And I turned around and I looked in the face of Pearl Bailey.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how you feel.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
First of all, what am I doing in the White House? I mean, but it's extraordinary. It's an extraordinary life. It is.
the relationships that you built over the years and your career of like we talk about the acting, but also too we talk about the music, like
Oh,
the collaborations that you've done over the
oh
years
gosh,
and
that's a good area. Go ahead,
the
ask your question
collaboration.
before I get too excited.
Like there's a Freddie Jackson, Melba
Yeah,
Moore.
yeah.
How was that collaboration with Freddie Jackson?
Oh, first of all, just wonderful. Our company was Hush Productions, and we discovered Freddie
Mm-hmm.
and developed his career. We brought him with Capitol Records, and I helped with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think of some. Oh, Kashif.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I'm trying to think. Paul Lawrence. Paul Lawrence. I don't know if you know. Do you know who Paul Lawrence is?
Mm-hmm.
You do.
Yes. I have the names.
Yes.
Musicians and everything.
Well, Paul Lawrence wrote "Rock Me Tonight."
Yes. He wrote "Rock Me Tonight."
He wrote
Okay.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just think that's incredible. First of all, I
Yes.
think the people who have that talent
Mm-hmm.
are amazing. When you write something like that, I mean, that's such a huge
Well, you've
soul.
been around great icons of writers like
Yeah.
Valerie Ashford and Simpson, and
Yeah.
even
I'm not
McFadden and
just name
Whitehead.
dropping. I'm saying that these were really special, events in my life, and they still are relationships, and it helps me to be whoever it is I am.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many more. And then, not all the people are famous or icons, but you want to know about the people that are, because they're the people that everybody knows.
Well, the behind
No.
the scenes though too, because you worked with McFadden and Whitehead.
I was just going to say, when you said music icons and people we collaborate with,
Mm-hmm.
those are two of the most exciting songwriter, producers, performers that I have worked with, who really shaped the development of my singing style for records. My singing style for Broadway and theater is a little bit different because you have to play a character.
Right.
So that kind of shapes how you're going to sing and what you're going to do. Like, for instance, I did the role of Fantine, which is the female lead in Les Miserables. Of course, that's not R&B. It's almost semi-classical.
Mhm.
Right.
But McFadden and Whitehead are not classical. And they, of course, everybody knows them for Ain't Nobody Stopping Us Now. And, Stopping Us, excuse me.
Mhm.
But they took a Bee Gees song, You Stepped Into My Life, that everybody knows that recording, they know that arrangement, but then they made it special, their own sound, and they made it special for me, for my little voice. When I say little voice, McFadden and Whitehead don't have little voices, what I do in comparison. And I'm saying it with a lot of animation, because it's so exciting to see somebody have that talent, shape it around what it is you are.
Mhm.
And then, like, I sing that song regularly like it was just released. That's how much people still enjoy it.
Yes.
So McFadden and Whitehead are not only special to me, they wrote, so much of the music for Philly International, artists
Mhm.
like Teddy Pendergrass, so many. So they're great, great, great giants in writing music and producing music, well, and performing it. So nobody's going to ever forget Ain't No Stopping Us Now.
That's
No.
right.
No, nobody's never gonna forget that.
Hey, that was the national anthem for New York, WBRS. Baby.
That's it. Now,
That's
who
right.
are some of the great producers that you actually worked with outside of Whitehead and McFadden?
Well, Van McCoy, who actually almost single-handedly ushered in the disco era with The Hustle. He
Right.
did my first success, which was a dance song called This Is It.
Mhm.
But also, I reminded Van McCoy once, I got a hold of him, that he also wrote Lean on Me, which has
Wow.
become my signature song. It's a ballad, in
Mhm.
case some people don't know. But I first heard it sung by Miss Aretha Franklin. So that'll give you an idea that Van McCoy was a great, great, great songwriter,
Mhm.
producer, great performer himself too.
Yes, ma'am. Now, growing up, who was your inspiration or who inspired you to want to sing?
Well, first my mother, 'cause she was a professional singer with my stepfather. They worked together, so we had music in the house all the time, and them performing and taking us kids wherever they performed. So it kind of got in our blood that way.
Mhm.
But we had so many. we, African Americans are so blessed with so many, 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 many great artists. It's difficult for me to say. Of course, Miss Dionne Warwick.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think. God, there's so many. Then we have all these blues singers.
Yeah.
Ella Fitzgerald.
I don't even know how I got into Broadway. That was an accident because, of course, I saw people like Miss Diane Carroll. I'm trying to think of,
Ruth
oh,
Brown.
was it Dorothy Dandridge? Who they did Porgy and Bess, Sammy Davis and them,
Hmm.
and of course that was a black opera.
Right. Now,
There's so many.
how was it the first time you ever got on stage? Did you feel the jitters when it came to the singing, or was you comfortable being on stage acting because of singing?
No,
No.
you want to know what do I mean, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
I still get nervous.
Okay.
So I've always been nervous. I still get nervous.
Mhm.
It's always like I'm afraid I'm going to have a panic attack. I have to do a lot of preparation, make sure I got everything. Don't have people distracting me, talking to me before I go on.
Mhm.
Because when you get nervous, it usually goes to your throat.
Right.
It's nerve wracking. You seem like you should hate something like that, but I love it. Ron Richardson, 10 Hart Street. Sorry. Let me
No
call you
problem.
back, Ron. I'm on a Zoom.
Now, um, you're still singing, you're still making songs, still performing. How has the industry changed since you first started?
I think the biggest thing is the internet
Hmm.
because it's made it global and huge and very, 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 very diverse. I mean, one person can have. Ron Richardson, I'm 10 sorry. Hart Street. Ron, I'm on a Zoom. I'll call you back, okay? Let me cut this off. I'm sorry.
It's
No
okay.
problem.
That's my partner. I can't ignore him.
So you,
Now,
So it's very, very, very diverse.
mhm,
People have huge. They can have huge followings. I mean, for instance, as a recording artist, I can have several projects out now at the same time, and maybe they might not even really compete with each other. Well, that may have to do with the fact that I'm diverse. Like, for instance, I might have something out like something that's from Les Mis, which is almost semi-classical. I might
mhm,
also have something on D Nice's program, which is he may play anything he wants to, but
right.
primarily he's probably going to play dance music. Excuse me, black dance music. I mean, there's all kinds of lanes, and everybody can be in all of them. There's just much more available for you to pick from if you want to watch something or listen to something, or if you want to actually do something. There's so much more diversity.
Yes, ma'am. Now, during the pandemic, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you forged a musical relationship with DJ D Nice. How did that even come about? D Nice being from the '80s era, and you're coming through the '80s era, um, and you're able to see how selling records, going from, I guess, the 8 tracks to the 78s, and now the cassettes, and now we're streaming. How did that all come about?
Very systematically and slowly, and you're adjusting over the years. Just,
Hmm.
it's going to continue to change. And
Hmm.
of course, D was, I guess, among the first to be on internet to do his DJing. And what he did is he reached out to a variety of people and included him on his program. He didn't just play one format.
Hmm.
And I was among those. And then what he did was so widely accepted and popular that whoever got invited on his format, we kept and grew our popularity too. So it's not like something I did. He did it. And I said, thank you. Let me participate. It was his genius to do that.
Yes. D Nice has definitely grown as an artist and as a DJ, because we remember him as the 808. That's the '80s era for us, or what have you.
Yes. Yes.
Um, but you have a new I think they call it EPs now. I want to make sure I get you have new music out.
Yeah, I'll
And
call it music because I'm sure I'm going to get it wrong.
you
Yes, it's
have
called
new music
Imagine.
called Imagine. What was the inspiration behind Imagine, and who
Well,
helped
my daughter's
co-write that?
inspiration. We were shut down in the pandemic, and she was listening to music and found these songs for me and said, over a period of time, I think they might be good for you. And
Hmm.
she's grown up in the industry, but I never listened to her as a professional. But she's
Hmm.
grown now, and she gave me some thoughts about what she thought my concept should be, and
Hmm.
the kind of a person I am, and how that should be reflected in music, and how it could relate to a wide audience, not
Hmm.
so narrow. And she put together many, many different songs, and we listened to them over a period of time, and then we narrowed them down to I think about 10 songs. Actually, we might add some more to this album. She brought me another song the other day that is ridiculous. It's so wonderful. So we're going to try to add it to the album if it seems like that makes sense, and I think it will. But I think it's by being fortunate to have someone in my family who's from the next generation to help
Hmm.
me continue to stay relevant,
Hmm.
keep who it is I am. Now I got a foundation in history, which is what it really ought to be, and not so exclusive, but more inclusive.
Hmm.
But you have to connect to what's going on. You can't just stay where you were.
Hmm.
But the next generation helps you to do that. That's how it came about.
Yeah. Now, I tell you, to sit and be in this position, me and my brother talked about it. Like, we never thought that we would be in this position where we'll be having a conversation with you. Growing up, idolizing, arguing, who your husband was, as kids, well, maybe not know, like, guys, when they younger, that's my wife, that's my wife, that's my
Oh,
wife.
it was cute.
And you go through that type of situation growing up as a child,
Sure.
and to be in a position today and have you on our show is amazing for us. And like we said, definitely starstruck at this moment because we never thought we would have this opportunity to have a great icon like yourself.
Absolutely.
I know how it feels, and I'm glad you feel that way. I'm really happy about that. Thank you.
And yes, Miss Testele, she said to tell you hello. A lot of our followers and listeners are coming from different platforms because we are streaming live through different platforms for us: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, different. And the comments are coming in, and everybody loves Melba Moore. Like, this is amazing.
Hey. No, thank you. I appreciate it. I do not take it for granted. And I think because of the construction of the internet, you can have everybody kind of, not everybody, but so many different factions come in and participate in one unit. I think that's
So
really good.
how did you feel transitioning from the disco era coming into more of the mellow music from the 70s to the 80s transition? Because it
I
seemed
didn't
like
transition like that. I've always been mellow and up.
music. Well, because I like
I didn't transition
the
like that. I've
songs
always
you did from the 80s, that album, your 80s albums and stuff like that were incredible because you work, like I said, with a lot of incredible musicians and artists and producers you work with. And
Yeah.
it
I mean,
seemed
that's how you transition. You get great songwriters and producers. 'Cause I don't write, I don't produce,
Mhm,
but I had to collaborate with them because sometimes I have a diverse style. I guess because not well, I have a few styles, and I'll
mhm,
sing one way for this audience and another way for that audience.
mhm,
And but you can't always mix them. So
mhm.
sometimes I have to get in charge to say, okay, no, you can't use that voice for this here. That doesn't work
mhm,
for that. Because it might be pretty and everything, but it's not going to communicate the right thing. And if you don't know me, you won't know that. You think, oh yeah, let's try that. And that's the way I collaborate. But sometimes, like this time, I had to listen to my daughter because I said, well, is that really right for me? She said, yeah, Ma, it's right for you.
I know.
But
And
I don't know. You just have to kind of feel when it's time to listen and when it's time to speak.
what I do remember growing up is that there was a division in the house between Miss Melba Moore and Donna Summers.
Oh no! I was in competition with her.
There was a division. My brothers would argue back and forth that who was the prettiest, who had the gorgeous voice and all this stuff. I'm just sitting there like,
I wasn't in that conversation.
Well, Jennifer Aniston was in a class by herself. Y'all know that. Remember, she proved it. Remember when she did MacArthur Park?
Yes.
Okay, that went just somewhere else, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
I tell you, that's brother Kevin K.D. Dawson said you steal his wife. So
that means he didn't grow up yet, right?
he grew up.
We're gonna stay kids.
hey.
Now, over the years and starting out in acting and singing, did you ever have any coaching to help you learn your
Lots
range?
of singing, yes. I studied piano from the time I was 10 up through college.
Mm-hmm.
And then I majored in vocal music at Arts High School.
Mm-hmm.
And I majored in vocal music education at Montclair Teachers College. And then I taught vocal music in the Newark Public Schools. So there's lots and lots and lots of training here.
Mm-hmm. Now, how was it different? Like, do you like teaching for us with the youth, teaching them how to sing and own their craft?
Well, I didn't teach them that way. I taught them like the rudiments, how to read music, choral music, because you did it like in a classroom.
Right.
And so, of course, we would sing, but I've never really taught voice. I think I'm going to do that though, because I got some notes I didn't have before, and I should, share that. I think.
By all means, Queen, teach the babies. Now, staying within the tri-state area. Peace to our sister Kim. Staying in the tri-state area and having that push and that push because being in New York is a different feeling, and it's always like something about that energy that pushes you to make you want to go to the next level. Is that why you stayed within the
Yes.
tri-state area?
Yes, in a word, I was born there, so I do have it, and I'm kind of like that. I mean, I learned to ride my bike on, in Central Park. And I learned how to skate on 108th Street and play hopscotch and at the PAL. So I'm a New York street kid from the beginning. But then when I moved to Newark, New Jersey, that's a whole different setting. So I'm that too. You are wherever you are. Of course, we're going to talk about New York because everybody knows what it is and it's such an iconic city. But Newark is an incredible place. Culturally, it has its own style of music as well. I'm talking about Black music, of course.
Of course.
And an incredible place for good education, period. And I got the best education in the world in music. I went to Arts High School and Montclair Education and Teachers College.
Yes,
so, but it has its own personality. And so
Now-
I would say I'm both. I mean, I would never want to be without New York City because there's something about New York that says, I gotta.
Yeah.
You have look. Oh, what's that? You're surrounded by people and things and stuff, and so you're never in a bubble by yourself. Or matter of fact, they keep making more lanes because we don't have enough room for the pedestrians. And now we got scooters and bikes and motorcycles, everything on the sidewalk in the buildings. So you're not going to be by yourself. You got to keep it moving. But I like that.
Because I was curious, because a lot of times when people get into acting and things like that, they go out west to California, to Hollywood, and see if they make their break. But you stayed with the stage and Broadway.
Well, no, I've been out there too. That's where I did most of my television.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of guest appearances on people like Carol Burnett, Flip Wilson. I don't know, a ton of shows, but they were all done on the West Coast.
Right.
But I didn't go out there to find the career. I went out there because of Pearlie and the Tony Award. I got these. I was hired to come out there and do those things. So I got to explore and see LA and Hollywood from that perspective, on the job once again.
Of course. Now, you got nominated for a Grammy after the Tony Awards. Now, what song was it that you got nominated for?
I can't remember right at the time. There have been about four.
Well, I know one song that you might get nominated for, and that's Imagine. And my
Oh,
brother's
I
finna
like
play it
looking
right.
for the future. I like that.
And my brother's about to play it right now for you.
Okay.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Melba Moore with Imagine.
Imagine.
Can you imagine a place of hope, a place of peace? Imagine if love filled every street. Oh, hey, we are free. Imagine how pure this world could be. Yeah, can you imagine? Yeah, oh yeah, can you imagine? Imagine a love displayed, causing disloyalties to be erased. Heaven in our hearts and in our minds, love was a true virtue of our times. If we follow the script of love, can you imagine? Disloyalty would be no more. Place of love, place of peace. Our journey flows to every street. Oh, hey, we are free. Imagine how pure this world could be.
Do you remember the guitar player on Imagine? The guitar player on Imagine. I can't say that honestly. It's so beautiful.
There it is.
Yeah.
Place of love, place of peace.
Find out who's playing the guitar.
Love that heals. That's what it's about. Where's the guitar player that like never heard anything? Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. The world.
I wanted to tell everybody that's Eric Leon playing that beautiful guitar.
Man, he's playing it. It's amazing.
He's playing that thing.
He's playing that thing.
And I should give credit to, I think, Miss Chantel Hampton wrote the song.
Okay.
And I'm singing it. But I think it's so beautiful. And of course, what it's about. Now, the reason why all of those songs are kind of similar in terms of what the subject is, because that's the way my daughter sees me. A peaceful person, a spiritual person. And she thought, we could do any kind of record we want to. It does not have to be a dance record. It could be this.
Right.
So
Now, to speak on that's love that from a mom, from a daughter to a mother. And how do you feel that bringing the love back to music, because love has left a lot of times in the
Really?
music? Yes, ma'am. We
Oh.
have more of violence and separation. And now the love is starting to come back. The love of oneself, a love of parents, the love of a spouse. Um, and that's what music speaks to. I know that's the way it was when I was coming up, that
Hmm.
it spoke to different relationships. How do you feel about being one of those vessels of individuals who speak about love and relationships?
Well, what I keep being told by people is they really, because there's so much violence and so much harshness and so much, we call it love, but it's not,
Mhm.
that you need this because
Hmm.
it's real,
Hmm.
it's godly,
Hmm.
it's a force that can bring unity and bring solutions. Even if it's not talking about a problem,
Hmm.
just to come in that environment, you feel whole, you feel good, you feel joyful, even if you're not doing anything. That's important. So I'm grateful. That's who I am. um, but I don't want to say that I'm so peaceful. I don't have any challenges. What you fight for that.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
if someone says that that's relevant, you can sing about that because it can't just be about what I feel or what I think.
Hmm.
You other people have to relate to it. You don't have a hit record.
Yes.
So
And
I feel once again very very fortunate that God put me in this position to make my living,
mhm,
to to have my family, to grow the extended family with the public. That
mhm,
this is the centerpiece because it's very powerful and it's very important. So then it gets to be more about than just success or that you sell records.
mhm,
It gets to be about the essence. Well, it always is anyway.
mhm.
But if you hit that and you see, uh, um, because it's so focused, how much good you can do,
Right.
I'm very, very grateful. Because, maybe if I was picking myself and maybe I might be a little more, I don't know, edgy or concerned if I was going to sell records or something, I might make another choice. I might not
Mhm.
have the courage to say, no, this is what you should do. So you need somebody outside of yourself, I think, to help you see what effect that it has on other people, not just you.
Right. Right. And it's amazing now, and it's to be open and honest to see and hear that type of love that your daughter has for you and the way that she sees you as a queen, regardless of whatever the situation may be or whatever ups and downs that any family goes through. She never asks you to step down from your throne for being the queen that you are.
And I
And
never asked her to step down from hers.
that's it.
But your family, you are royalty.
Right, right. And being the fact that she sees you that way and she wrote music that fit you. Didn't have to be, like you said, a dance song, but she helped write records that fit you, and it's amazing, and we're enjoying the magic.
Oh, I'm so glad. And I'm glad that as toilsome and violent and chaotic as life is, I think I am a peaceful person.
I tell you, you definitely can tell by the songs
Hmm.
because the songs are definitely calming, you know. And look at my brother; he's lost for words. I've never seen him lost for words.
Listen, you know what? I do have something I would like to say because we've asked several people, but to ask you, I think this one fits because I think it's going to take us back to a time of greatness in the genre of great musicians or actors and actresses and mostly singers. So I'm going to ask you, as you were growing up, who would you have considered your Mount Rushmore of entertainers? If you could choose five people that you would say were your Mount Rushmore back then, that you would say these are the people that I I would love to be up on that wall with them. Who would that be?
Well, definitely Miss Aretha Franklin.
Okay.
I remember hearing her first recording, which was on Columbia Records, before they really let her sing herself. You could hear the church in there. I don't care if she was singing Blue Skies or something. And she's a black artist.
Hmm.
Columbia Records was a white label. So it was the first attempts at taking an artist who's really, really black and crossing what we call crossing them over. And you just hear, and of course, I'll use her an example because anybody can hear the greatness in her. I don't care when you heard her or what you heard her, you heard her sing. You asked me to pick 5. It's really hard to do that because we are so rich.
Mhm.
We are in different categories. What about Mahalia Jackson? Don't let me get loud now.
Mhm.
Well, I just mean because
Right.
I mentioned somebody like her because everybody knows that greatness. I remember seeing um, a taping of her on TV, and she must have been in some European country where they didn't speak English,
Mhm.
and they were listening to Mahalia Jackson. You know, she don't speak nothing but English. Her English, right?
Right.
They were looking at her like this because she was stunning. And we have so many artists like that. Okay, I commissioned some others that everybody knows is stunning like that. Okay.
Hmm.
How about Miss Ella Fitzgerald?
Yes.
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 She might have been the first female to start scatting. I don't remember hearing anybody sing it before her.
I can't recall.
You don't think about that because they're so common as icons.
Hmm.
But people like us, we think about things like that, you know. Because at first I want to say, well, can I do that? No. So you have, I think, there are too many to count. You know who else is incredible, ridiculous? You said if I want to, you're talking about back, but we got artists now that are incredible. Beyonce,
Right.
how you gonna sing like she sings and dance too at the same time? They'd have to bring the paramedics if I could even just walk, like that.
Right.
Much less than actually. When did we see her do a halftime show recently? Did you see it?
Yeah. I
Mhm.
think that was a year or so ago that
Hmm.
she did the halftime show.
And she was singing at the same time.
Hmm.
Will you just say
Definitely.
that because we see that all the time. That's how great our artists are. There's so many, and they're so incredible, and they're in so many different categories. So I'm saying that to say, I could not tell you 5. I couldn't pare it down to that because we have so many.
Understand. Now, Miss Moore, I know we coming to the end, and I think you have another interview coming up after hours. But we wanted to see for you to tell our followers and our listeners how they can get your music, where can they see you at, and make sure that they archive some of those TV shows that we grew up on, and they get some of those stage plays
Okay.
on the
Well,
internet.
of course, you can always go on YouTube and get everything. You can purchase the CD on Amazon.com.
Mhm.
You can get in touch with me on Instagram and Melba1More
Right.
and my website, melbamore.com. Um, Next year, I'm going to be on the Soul Train cruise. So
Okay.
that's going to be fun because I'm going to be on there with my little other little lady, Stephanie Mills. We're 2 little ladies. Also, it's going to be on that cruise is Boys to Men, Evelyn King,
Mhm.
Cool and the Gang, and maybe some others.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think. I'm going back to the UK. You just check melbamore.com because I'm not going to be able to remember my whole schedule. But
Right.
we talked about the star, didn't we?
Yes, ma'am.
We did. We talked about the star. I've got my headphones, so can't nobody hear what I'm saying but me. But my schedule's going to be full, so check my websites and all that stuff.
Well, Miss Moore, it's been an honor and a privilege to have you on. And if you can just give us 2 minutes after the show to speak with you, it would be a pleasure and an honor. But ladies
My
and
pleasure.
gentlemen, this has been Real to Real 360. And Big Bro, you know what time it is.
Absolutely. Ms. Moore, thank you. Thank you so much for
My pleasure.
gracing
Thank you.
us, gracing our presence, your presence with us, and just being truthful about your life. And we thank you. And like I tell everybody, you don't have a home away from home. You have a home right here on our
Thank
show.
you.
So if there's anything that we can do any given time, don't hesitate to call on us. We will do
I
it.
promise you I'll take you up on it. It's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed this.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay. So thank you to our listeners and our followers and subscribers. I must make this special announcement. Real2reel360 has now have our own radio show where we will showcase music from new artists, old artists. I don't like to say old. I like to say classics, essential, dynamic vocalists such as yourself, Miss Moore, and all the music that I remember growing up with and playing and the stuff till today. So you can catch us on Live 365 and type in Real2reel360 and you will hear us streaming. And we'll be bringing you more content as we talk and go along. All right. Thank you for listening and chiming in with us. And as always, we tell everybody, take care of yourself. Peace and blessings. This is the Real2reel360 show. We are out.
Peace.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we starting to come to the end of the show. Right now, I want to take the time out and thank our guests for coming on. Also, too, we want to make sure that y'all listening and subscribing and tell a friend and keep sharing because we're going to keep bringing y'all the real content. You know what I mean? So, DJ K-Wise, my brother, take us up out of here, son.
True
Peace.
indeed. I want to give a big shout out to the nation of gods and nurses, to all the human families on the planet Earth. I say peace. But to our subscribers, those who continue to watch and listen to the show each and every time we come on, I give a big shout out of love, peace, and happiness to you. To peace, the man, woman, and child of the you and I verse. It's time for us to disperse. We bring the best, not the worst. We thank you once again for tuning in to the Real 360. Bring a friend to hit that like and subscribe so we continue to grow to bring more knowledge and wisdom to you. Upon our show, you make it possible for us to do what we do